I'm here to have your child." She stood in the pouring rain, clothes soaked through, eyes steady, speaking as if this were a routine transaction. Elias Montgomery, reclusive millionaire, a man who had never held a woman's hand, stood frozen. He didn't know who she was, had no idea how she had the contract, but the signature was his, real, unforced. He once believed money gave him control over everything, but now he had two choices: run or let a stranger carry his child, and he couldn't tell which choice would ruin him first. If you've ever believed love can't begin with a contract, hit subscribe. This story will make you question everything. Elias Montgomery, 32, sold an AI platform for 9 figures, hasn't left this mansion in 3 years. No parties, no gatherings, no socializing unless absolutely necessary. The house was so quiet you could hear the clock tick with every second. Everything in its place, everything cold. He sat in his study, a cold cup of tea on the desk, a faded sketch on the wall, pencil lines of a backyard, a swing, and an empty sky. Flashback. Montgomery men don't draw, you lead. His mother's voice when he was 10. That day, she tore his drawing in half. No hesitation. He never picked up a pencil again, and never forgot. May pressed the phone to her ear, voice soft as a nurse answered. Just confirming, Malik's 4th transfusion is this Tuesday, right? She jotted it down on the back of a train ticket, ink smudging from her damp fingers. The woman gave more instructions. May nodded, thanked her, and hung up. She leaned back against the cold hallway wall. Flashback. 3 months ago, she sat at a bank, loan application in hand. The man skimmed the papers and smiled faintly. No husband. Unstable income. We need someone creditworthy. They didn't say it outright, but she understood. May folded the papers. Inside her bag, the surrogacy contract, a deposit. Clear terms. She didn't do it for herself. She did it for her brother, because surviving costs something. May entered the house, suitcase rolling behind her. Wet footprints trailed across the marble. Elias stood a few feet away, contract still in hand. "I didn't know you'd be living here," he said quietly. May looked up, unblinking. "You signed. So did I." They stood in silence, the grandfather clock ticking. "I thought this was just a medical procedure," Elias added. "It is. But not only that," May replied. "You could stay at a hotel," he mumbled. "No. The contract states 6 months of cohabitation. For supervision, health, mental well-being." Elias backed toward the stairs, avoiding her gaze. May pulled her suitcase through the hallway. Her shoulder dipped slightly, but she didn't pause. They lived under one roof, but they were clearly from different worlds. May set her suitcase beside a gray velvet sofa. The living room was large but lifeless. Floor-to-ceiling windows, curtains drawn. Just enough light to see the dust lining the shelves. Elias stood in the doorway. His eyes brushed over her, then looked away. "This is a shared space. If you need anything, ask the housekeeper," he murmured. May nodded without a word. Elias turned and walked off, steps quick, almost urgent. She sat down, unpacked a few neatly folded clothes. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. A message from the hospital. May turned off the screen. Not yet. The grandfather clock echoed. 1, 2, 3. The sound marked the distance between them. She was here. He was somewhere else, under one roof, but each in their own silence. 3 days passed. Elias walked past May like she was invisible. No greetings, no eye contact. Breakfast left on the table. Coffee brewed, then cold. She knocked on the study door. No response. By evening, she stood at his room, raised her hand, knocked twice. Not soft, not loud. The door creaked open. Elias looked up from his laptop, said nothing. May stepped in halfway. "I'm not furniture." He flinched. No, I know exactly what you mean. I live here, Elias. We don't have to be friendly, but I'm still a person." She turned and left, her words hanging in the thick air. Elias sat still, eyes fixed on the closing door. For the first time, he didn't know whether to respond with words or silence. Elias found May in the dining room. She was arranging flowers, eyes down. "I wasn't trying to ignore you," he said softly. She didn't reply, just added a carnation to the vase. "I'm not good with people. They throw me off. I say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing. Look the wrong way. May set the scissors down. Everyone's thrown off at first, but if you know that, then start with kindness. Elias nodded, eyes fixed on the table. I'm not used to anyone being in my home, except staff, and they don't talk. May looked at him, softening, just a little. I don't need you to be charming. I just need you to remember I'm here, alive, and trying. He didn't respond, but this time he didn't walk away. He stood there, as if relearning how to exist beside someone. Elias stood in the kitchen holding a small knife, staring at the raw chicken. Google said, rinse it. Another site said, don't. He sighed, put the knife down. The kitchen gleamed. Spotless, but he had no idea where to start. May walked in and froze at the sight. Chef Montgomery needs saving, she laughed. Elias looked up, blushing. I thought I could cook one meal, but now I'm just talking to the chicken. May stepped closer. First, rinse, gently. Then I'll show you how to season it. She rolled up her sleeves, stood beside him. Their hands brushed as they reached for spices. For the first time, they laughed. Not out of politeness, but because in that moment of mutual confusion, they saw each other more clearly. They ate dinner in the small room off the kitchen. Soft, yellow lights. Simple dishes. May picked up the last piece of broccoli, then set her chopsticks down. My brother's name is Malik. He's 16. Has a genetic blood disorder. Elias looked up, listening. No interruptions. My mom died early. Dad left when I was in middle school. I've done everything I could. Worked all day, stayed up all night with meds. Sometimes I thought I wouldn't make it. Elias nodded, voice low. I hate my parents. Not because they left, but because they always controlled everything. May said nothing. Elias leaned on the table, eyes fixed on his glass. Every time I made a decision, they changed it. Even this. Even having a child. No more words, but the space between them was slowly shrinking. May walked past the back hallway near the library, about to step into the garden, then paused. Elias sat hunched over a stone table, sketchpad in hand, pencil moving carefully. She tilted her head. What are you drawing? Startled, he quickly closed the notebook. Nothing. May stepped closer. Can I see? He hesitated, then opened the page. A simple sketch, a tiny swing set between two trees. Notes scribbled underneath. Height, material, safety padding. May studied it, then laughed, softly and honestly. You're thinking about the baby? Elias looked down, sheepish. I guess a part of me is. May didn't say anything else, but her fingers grazed the edge of the page, and for the first time, Elias didn't hide who he was. May sat twirling her tea glass in her hands. They were in the solarium. Sunlight streamed gently through the tall glass panes. Quiet, like the air between them. Before I signed that contract, I had a dream, to open a center for women of color, focused on health and emotional care. I wrote a proposal, made a plan, pitched to investors. Elias tilted his head, listening closely. But the bank declined, 3 times. He asked slowly, because of your skin? May gave a faint smile. Because of technical reasons. Because I'm single. Because I don't fit their criteria. She didn't have to say more. Elias understood. I'm sorry, he said softly. I don't need sorry. I need a chance, just like everyone else. Have you ever done everything right and still been shut out just for being different? Drop a I understand if you've ever felt that. A table by the window, soft golden light, an upscale restaurant. May wore an olive green dress, hair pinned up. Elias ordered white wine. It seemed like a peaceful evening. The waiter approached, smiling politely, but looked only at Elias. Good evening, sir. Have you decided? May set her menu down. I pre-ordered the vegetarian. The waiter still didn't look at her. Would you like the steak or the fish, sir? May leaned in slightly. I'm the one who booked this table. The waiter stiffened. Elias locked eyes with him, his voice sharp. She ordered ahead. She's the guest, and if that's unclear, we're leaving. The air went cold. The waiter backed away quickly. May glanced at Elias. There was a flicker of gratitude in her eyes. For the first time, he didn't hesitate. He stood up. For her, May returned from the back garden. Evening had fallen. The scent of lavender lingered on her fingers. Elias stood waiting near the stairs, holding a small silver-gray box. He didn't speak, just opened it. Inside, a delicate silver chain with a crescent moon pendant. For you, he said. May looked up, surprised. What for? He met her eyes, slowly. Because since you came, this house feels warmer. She took the pendant, fingertips brushing its smooth, cool surface. I don't know what to say. You don't have to. Just know. I see you. A pause, soft and warm, like the moonlight outside the window. Not an expensive gift, but the first time Elias used feeling to say what he never could before. May stepped into the library while Elias was out. She was searching for a book on prenatal nutrition, but accidentally knocked loose a thin file behind the shelf. A faded letter slid out. A scholarship rejection from a prestigious school. Thank you for your application, but you do not reflect the representation standards we seek. She read it again, each word cold and detached. May went still. She didn't need anyone to explain. She knew the ache of being excluded, just for not fitting their mold. She left quietly, without a word. Later, Elias returned. On his desk, he found a small sprig of lavender and a handwritten note. You were always enough. He held the note, eyes fixed on the words. No decoration, no performance, just one truth ringing clear. She had seen him, entirely. Elias placed a vinyl record on the player. Ella Fitzgerald's voice filled the room, smooth as velvet. May turned from the music room doorway. You listen to jazz? My grandfather collected records. When I was little, I used to sneak and listen whenever I hid from my parents. May smiled and stepped in. She opened her arms slightly, tilting her head. Dance with me? Elias froze. I don't know how. Neither do I. No one's born knowing. She took his hand, placed it gently on her shoulder. His other hand fumbled to find hers. They stumbled through the first steps, a few toe taps, a misstep or two, but neither let go. They didn't need perfect rhythm, or perfect form, just each other. We're both learning, May whispered. And that's enough, Elias replied. In that moment, they weren't perfect, but they were real. Rain pounded against the windows. Wind howled through the corridor. Elias searched the house. May wasn't in the bedroom, not in the kitchen, not in the garden. Then he saw the laundry room light, still on. May lay on the floor, curled on her side, hand over her belly, eyes shut tight. May! He rushed to her, dropping to his knees, touching her shoulder. She didn't move. Skin cold, forehead soaked with sweat. His fingers shook as he dialed. His voice cracked. She's pregnant! She fainted! Please, please, hurry! He held her tightly, whispering over and over like a lost child. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. The cold, guarded man was gone, only trembling hands holding on, as if keeping her close was the only thing keeping his world intact. May opened her eyes slowly. Soft light, the scent of mint in the air. Elias sat beside her bed, hands tightly clasped, eyes red. When she woke, he exhaled like someone coming up from deep water. You scared the hell out of me. May smiled faintly. I'm okay now. He held her hand, firm, steady. For the first time, he didn't shake. There's something you should know. I love you. She froze. Elias met her gaze. Not because of the baby. Not because of the contract. He paused. Because of you. May covered her mouth, eyes blurring. Tears fell, no stopping them. I love you too, since the moment you looked at me like no one else ever did. Their hands gripped tighter. There was nothing contractual left between them, only truth. The ultrasound screen flickered with soft light. The baby's heartbeat filled the room. Steady, small, but strong. Elias sat close beside May, holding her hand. They watched the blinking dot on the monitor, a tiny life, slowly taking shape. Elias swallowed hard, still staring. I don't know how to be a father. There's no model for me to follow. May turned to him, voice gentle. I don't know how to be a mother, especially alone. Her words came out like breath, but carried the weight of every year she'd survived on her own. Elias looked at her. His grip tightened, this time without trembling. No one made promises, no one claimed perfection. But one thing was certain. They would learn parenthood, together. Elias walked in with a breakfast tray, warm oatmeal, thin apple slices, and fresh orange juice. May rested against the pillow, hair loose, one hand on her belly. She raised an eyebrow at the thick book he carried. Parenting is not a war. You're really reading that? Elias nodded, pulling up a chair. Last night I learned how to swaddle. There's a video. It's complicated. May laughed. You learned fast. He looked at her, saying nothing. But in his eyes, something steadier than any vow. He wasn't leaving. Not the kind of love with roses, but with small, consistent acts. She didn't say a word, just leaned her head against his shoulder, enough to know she was loved. The doorbell rang. 3 sharp chimes. Elias opened it. His parents stood there, long coats, eyes polished like steel. They entered like they still owned the place. May was pouring tea in the living room. When Mrs. Genevieve Montgomery saw her, she froze. Then her voice dropped, cold as marble. It's not too late for a DNA test. She didn't look at May, didn't blink. No one spoke. The room felt drained of air. May tightened her grip on the cup, her hands trembling, not from the words, but from how familiar they were. Elias stepped forward, said nothing, just took May's hand. His hand, warm, steady, certain. For the first time, he wasn't just standing beside her, he was standing against the world, for her. The door slammed shut. May leaned against the wall, hands trembling as she removed the crescent moon necklace. She placed it on the table, quietly, as if setting down something that once held hope. Hurried footsteps echoed. Elias pushed the door open, breath shallow. Don't do this. May didn't turn. They don't believe me. And you don't have to choose. But I already did, he said, voice thick but certain. He stepped closer, took her hand. I won't let them break this. Not again. She looked up, tears brimming. Elias spoke slowly, each word clear. No test. I don't need proof. I need you. The necklace still sat on the table, but this time Elias was the one who put it back around her neck, with a love that didn't need conditions. The living room still felt as cold as marble. Elias's parents sat upright, eyes sharp, scanning every corner like an audit. Elias stood facing them, no longer bowing, no longer hesitating. I'm not doing the test, and I'm not asking permission. His father scoffed. His mother arched a brow. Don't let emotion cloud judgment. You have a duty to the family name. Elias shook his head, gaze steady. I used to think that, but not anymore. He took a breath. I choose her, and our child. You are a Montgomery, his mother snapped. He replied gently, but firm. No, I'm Elias, and this is the family I'm building, not the one you scripted. From the staircase, May heard every word. She raised her hand to her mouth. Tears fell, not from pain, but from the awe of finally being defended out loud. The garden glowed in soft sunlight, scattered with wildflowers. No aisle, no grand guest list, just them, and an old local officiant smiling gently. May walked barefoot across the grass. Her white dress floated like a cloud, hair pinned, eyes shining with rare peace. Elias waited. No designer suit, just a linen shirt and a smile he couldn't hide. When she reached him, he held her hand tight. You healed me, he whispered, then paused. You made me whole. May nodded, smiling through quiet tears. They didn't read vows, they just breathed. If you believe love doesn't need a stage, only sincerity. Did this moment move you? A hand-carved wooden sign hung above the door. The Bloom Room. Simple letters, quietly full of life. Inside, laughter echoed. On the rug, May sat among little girls, guiding them in deep breaths, palms on their chests, eyes gently closed. Inhale, I am safe. Exhale, I am whole. She repeated slowly, with quiet patience. Sunlight filled the room. Lavender floated on the breeze. In the corner, women of color gathered. Some meditated, some journaled, some simply stared at the plants, all allowed to rest. May passed through, pausing to place a hand on an elder woman's shoulder. The woman took her hand, nodded, wordless thanks. May wasn't just healing herself anymore. She was helping her whole little world bloom. Afternoon light slivered through the curtains, painting soft gold across the rug. Elias sat on the floor. Little Luna leaned against his chest, clutching a thick picture book. The little elephant searched for the moon. He read slowly, voice warm and low. Luna babbled nonsense, then giggled when Elias made a silly face, wide eyes, puckered lips. Ooh, no. He pretended the elephant fell. Her laughter rang like bells. Elias looked at his daughter, eyes glowing. May stood in the doorway, still holding a dish towel. She said nothing, just smiled, soft, as if every hardship had led to this moment. Family, she realized, Didn't need to be perfect, only real. Late afternoon. Soft grass beneath small feet. Luna wobbled between rows of daisies. Elias crouched nearby, arms open. "Come on, sweetheart. Come to Daddy." She bent her knees, teetered. One step, then toppled back. But Elias caught her just in time. He held her close, eyes wide. "She walked," he whispered, voice cracking. May walked over, stroked Luna's hair. "She's walking to you." Elias broke down. No words, just trembling shoulders, tears falling onto Luna's cheeks. She touched his face, grinning. In that moment, no one spoke. The journey of a father had begun, with just one tiny step. The wooden swing swayed beneath the lavender tree. Dusk painted the sky in gold. May leaned her head on Elias's shoulder, bare feet dangling in the air. She whispered, teasing, "I remember when you couldn't even look me in the eye." Elias chuckled, shook his head. "Now I can't look away." She turned. He was watching her, fully, intently, as if memorizing every line of her face. No words needed, only birds calling late, leaves rustling gently. Some things that began in distance had become the softest kind of closeness. Have you ever known a love like that? May opened a small wooden box, dust still clinging to the lid. Inside, a fabric-bound photo album. Title, handwritten, "The Beginning of Us." First page. Elias fumbling with crib screws, sweat on his brow. Next, Luna asleep, tiny hand gripping the blanket. Then May, covered in flour, laughing shyly. Elias behind her, spoon in hand, eyes sparkling. And last, the swing under the tree. Sunset blazing gold. 3 shadows blended into one. May smiled, flipping each page gently. Every memory. Not proof of perfection, but fragments of love, slowly pieced together. Evening breeze swept through the garden. Lavender tilted in unison. The swing rocked gently. Luna giggled, arms raised, waiting for another push. May stood behind her, hand lightly on her back. Elias stood a few steps away, sunlight brushing across his cheek. No one spoke, only the rustling leaves, birds calling, and the laughter of a child echoing across an open sky. Elias looked at May. His gaze said everything. She nodded, just once. Together, they looked forward, toward a future wrapped in golden light beating with every small heartbeat. Love didn't need definition, only quiet presence. She came to carry his child, but she carried his heart, his healing, his home. Elias once thought he was just a shadow inside a silent mansion, but now... Laughter echoed each morning. Chamomile tea warmed the porch, and May's eyes made everything real. She didn't just teach him how to love, she made him believe in what he once feared most: closeness, connection, family. If this story touched you, leave a comment. I still believe in love. And don't forget to subscribe, because you never know, the next story might be your own.